Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kerry Dupree. I'm joining you live at the waterhole today, and we have some elephants here in Botswana at Hyena Pan Camp, one of my favorite locations. What a special way to start the show with elephants at the watering hole. So just a reminder, folks, that this is a live and interactive show. So I'm dying to hear from you today. Send through all those questions and comments. Let me know what you would like to see, what birds, got any birds you'd like to see on the live at the watering hole today. Any mammals in particular? How is your Sunday going? Any special highlights from the safaris from this week? So don't forget to go over and use the hashtag at Wild Earth to send through those questions and comments. Or to make it easier, you can scan the QR code on screen now. So it is a lovely hot day today in Hyena Pan. As you can see, I'm sure they are reaching temperatures of between 35 to 37 degrees today in certain parts of Botswana. That's why you've got a lot of elephants coming down to the watering hole. We've had a lot of elephant pool parties this past week. A lot of elephants playing in the mud, which is always delightful to watch, I must say. Looks like this elephant's got a bit of a lazy trunk here. So we've had a few really lovely afternoons at Live at the Waterhole this week, especially at Hyena Pan and some of our other locations. Once the elephants all come down, walking far and wide from many different areas to get to a watering hole. As you can see here, they will then, after having a good drink and mud bath, seek refuge in the shade of the trees and rest a bit before continuing on their journey. It looks like we have a couple of bulls, solitary bulls, and then a nice little breeding herd just to the left. A little bit of a cheeky boy over here. So it has been, I believe quite an eventful day yesterday on the Sunset Safari. They had Lalamba and her cub finally made an appearance on Djuma, the Queen of Djuma, the leopardess of Djuma, with her little cub. Very awesome pictures that came out of her drinking at what looks like Djuma Pan. See, the pictures are everywhere. They're very cute. That cub is growing very nice and big very quickly. It's always awesome to see them around. I believe they could have a kill in a drainage line close by. So maybe if we're lucky today on the Sunset Safari, or maybe lucky sometime, get a view of Lalamba and her cub coming out for a drink again. She's managed to hide that kill of hers well enough. I believe they had quite interesting lot of sightings also on Djuma. Some vervet monkeys, which you don't see very often, baboons, as well as buffalo. So great to see some nice sightings at some of the locations. And of course, lots of birding going on at our locations as well, seeing as we had Mr. Nick Newman joining us a couple of days ago to do some birding on Djuma. So yes, Mr. Newman, who wrote the Newman's Bird Book, did lots of birding. Andrew was joining him. Looks like the elephants are getting a little bit antsy here. So Fuzzy Dunlop, happy Sunday, fun day Sunday. It is lovely day here in South Africa as well, just as it is in Botswana. It's quite warm here today in South Africa, highs of 28 to 31 degrees in some parts of South Africa, but I believe in Johannesburg today we're looking at about between 20 to 21 degrees. So nice and hot, although we did have some strange rain yesterday afternoon in Gauteng, as well as this morning. Rather strange, but the sun is out and it is blisteringly hot. That's why these elephants are coming to Nice drink, cool off. Brazen Hearted, greetings. Thank you for joining us today. Can't believe it is 5:30 in the morning in Texas for you there, Mr. Brazen Hearted. I hope that you are having a great start to your morning, and thank you for joining us so early in the morning, especially on a Sunday. Happy Sunday fun. I hope that we see lots of elephant pool parties today. It's been a while since I saw a proper elephant pool party. As I mentioned. All right, so why don't we head across to Tembe, see maybe we get an elephant pool party there. Over in Tembe. Welcome to Tembe Elephant Park, everybody. We've got some nice big elephant balls here, all seeking refuge in the shade of the trees. This spot just on the other side of the pan here. Yeah, it's a perfect sand bathing spot for the elephants too. They really enjoy going and standing under that tree and flicking the sand onto their bodies. Like you can see this one bull grabbing some sand. Might be nice and cool. That's probably why they're flicking the sand onto themselves. Just get a bit of cool sand onto their skin. Yeah, we've been having a lot of elephant mud baths, but I haven't actually seen an elephant pool party for a while. So I think an elephant pool party today would be great. I'd like to see a cat. Some sort of small predator would be great to see on the show today. What would you like to see on the show today, folks? Send me through any special requests or anything that you would like to see on the show today. It's quite difficult to always provide these kind of sightings, but yeah, sometimes if you have a better idea of what your clients want to see, then you have a better idea of where to look. Point yourself in the right direction. If you're lucky enough, sightings will come. Have a look on the left-hand side of the screen. There's this elephant ball. He's kind of sitting down. Oh my goodness. Check, he's lying down. That's rather strange. See them lying in the mud like that, but maybe he wants to take a nice Sunday afternoon nap. It's lovely to watch these elephants here in Tembe. So calm, so relaxed, trying to listen out for some birds. I can hear our little bee-eater calling. Our starlings today seem to be quite quiet, and the weavers don't hear too much. The sound of these elephants slurping up that water, squirting it into their mouths. Oh, there we go. We have one elephant coming into the water, folks. Maybe the rest will join. Oh, we have our little floppy-eared friend also here. So sometimes all it takes is one brave elephant to plunge into the water, and the rest will follow shortly after. So, talking about a bit of an update from the live drives, the live safaris. It is awesome to have Mabula back on the sunset drives, folks. So, if you'd like to see some Mabula activity, Mabula will be joining this afternoon as well. So, we've got Trishala and Cameron over at Mabula. We had a cool sighting the other day of the buffalo at Mabula. So, really excited to see what they see at Mabula in the next few weeks. Hello, hello, Penelope Kenyon. Thank you for sending through your greetings, warm greetings on this sunny Sunday afternoon. And Tembe is always an eventful location. Always lovely to see these giant tuskers. Oh, and just as I was hoping for an elephant pool party on this Sunday afternoon. So why don't we have a bit of a quiet moment, folks, just to relax, watch these elephants swimming, playing, and having the best time on this sunny Sunday afternoon. Awesome, awesome, folks. So I was just giving a bit of quiet time to just listen and enjoy watching these elephants. I was kind of hoping a few more elephant bulls would come down and have a bit of a swim. But for now, it just looks like we've got just the two bulls that are having a nice cool dip in the pool. On these windy days, it still can be a little bit cold in the water, but nonetheless, these elephants are having a great time. So, Ian, thanks for your question. So, your question about which of these locations have I personally visited myself? So, I have been to Tembe, I think on 2 occasions. Beautiful place, loved visiting. I have been to, oh, we got a little warthog also joining us, maybe coming for a mud wallow. So I've also been to Walter Sisulu Botanical Gardens. Of course, I've been to the penguins down in Cape Town at Sea Point and at Boulders Beach. I've also been to Ukokuyu over in Namibia. Yeah, I think that's pretty much, yeah, I guess I've been to 4 of obviously Juma. Spent a lot of time on Juma. So yeah, I haven't been to Tower Lodge in Madikwe and some of the other locations in the Sabi Sands. But yeah, I've been to about 5 or 6 of our locations here. Hoping to get to Oldonyo next year would be pretty cool. But yeah, awesome locations, and yeah, it's nice when you visited the area. You also have a bit of an understanding of how the ecosystems work in that area. So thank you for your question, Mr. Ian. I would love to know if you have visited any of our African locations, any of these watering holes. Like Ukokuyu, I visited earlier this year, and I was like, this looks very familiar. As soon as I saw the pan, I was like, that must be the African camera right over there. It's lovely to see these warthogs coming in for a midday drink visit, and also the vegetation on the edges of the banks are perfect for the warthogs to dig up. So Pippa Weepino, sorry, excuse me if I mispronounced your name, Pippa. Welcome to Live at the Waterhole. It's awesome for you to be joining us here today. And yes, we are here in Tembe Elephant Park. It's actually located in KwaZulu-Natal. Yeah, very, very special park. Incredible elephants here, massive tusks. I do have leopard sightings from time to time. I have seen lions myself here as well. They do have the big 5. But yeah, Tembe. Oh, check out this elephant bull. Very strange. He's actually lying right on his side on the bank here. How unusual is that? Maybe he had a itch. But yeah, so Tembe Elephant Park, very special part of South Africa. Very unusual that they've got so much greenery at the moment. Most of the rest of South Africa is actually quite dry at this time. So they must have had some late rains, and that's why they've got a bit of a flush of greenery. But welcome to the show, Pippa. Sorry that you are having some rainy weather in the UK, although I must admit, South Africa last weekend did experience snow and a lot of extremely cold weather. So it did kind of feel like we were actually in the UK last week. I must say it was rather cold weekend. So have a look. We've got interesting birds calling here. We've got the 3-banded plover that's giving a bit of a squeaking call. Listen to this elephant. You can hear him scratching his head on the tree. Shucks, you can hear the sound of that elephant scrubbing and scratching his head up against that tree. He sure has an itch there. Got our brown hooded kingfisher also calling. Kim Faustino, thank you for your comment. Shucks, another very early start for some of our viewers. Thank you so much. We appreciate everyone that wakes up so early to watch Live at the Waterhole. And Kim is sending us her regards from the Philippines. Shucks, we've got some interesting people from some awesome locations today. Thank you for sending through your comments. Lady Macbeth, thank you for the info about the lions, the lion pride. So apparently there are 3 lion prides in Tembe. I have seen 2 female lionesses at this watering hole before. I know the lions here in Tembe are being very closely monitored and researched. So yeah, they are. Yeah, population seem to be doing pretty well as far as I'm concerned. Lions seem to be in very good health, but of course, Tembe is very much famous for their elephants. Elephants have very long tusks here in Tembe, so if you're just joining us and you haven't seen some of our elephants in the other locations, I'm sure when we're jumping from one location to the next today, just pay attention to the size difference we have in the elephant's tusks. So in Tembe, they're very, very large, long tusks, whereas in Namibia, over at Okukuyu, for example, the elephants have very small, stubby, short tusks. Or could be mineral related, but of course has a lot to do with DNA and genetics. Looks like we have some more elephant bulls coming to join the pool party, and this tree is a perfect hangout spot for a little brown hooded kingfisher. Yeah, I heard him calling earlier. Sounds like our southern masked weavers have started calling too. Look at this big guy. Whoa. You hear those male southern masked weavers giving a very good vocalization. So Raymond, good question there about tuskers. So yeah, that's kind of how the genetics and genes work. So a very good example for this question of yours about tuskers. If a big tusker will most likely give birth to another tusker. It's all about genes and genetics. So that's why nowadays we are having a lot more tuskless elephants being born, because obviously the genes and genetics for these big tuskers, like I'm sure everybody knows of 1 ton over in Kenya, in Eldoño, we're having less and less of these animals with long tusks. So that means the gene pool is kind of being diluted, and there's more individuals with small tusks and shorter tusks, or even no tusks. So that is why we are having a lot more elephants being born nowadays with not such big ivory. So a lot of people have a misconception that, for example, elephants are deliberately being born without tusks, which is incorrect. It's more a recessive gene, same as your melanistic. Still got our elephant in the pan here. He's just, oh, shame. Must be super hot. Hot day. I think this is our little floppy-eared friend. See his ear is popping out at me. So yeah, it's the same as with our leopards, our black leopards. That's why we're seeing so many black leopards nowadays. So the melanistic leopard. And again, it is a recessive gene. So we're just seeing more of these individuals because there's more of the genes being spread around the gene pool. So yeah, so elephants, very important keystone species, which means they play a very crucial role in the ecosystem, elephants. So they diverse seeds over very long distances. We were talking about the other day how elephants are like gardeners of Africa, dispersing a lot of seeds and tree species, which without going through an elephant's digestive system, they wouldn't be able to propagate. So they disperse these seeds over many different regions, helping to regenerate forests. They also feed on these habitats, also creating clearings in very dense forest and areas, allowing new plant life to grow and opening up the habitat for other species. So another benefit of having elephants around a watering hole like this one, for example, is they will generally dig for water during dry seasons, and this helps to open up water sources and creates more water for animals in different areas. So yeah, in forests or kind of more remote areas that might not usually have any access to water because elephants have been there. They've opened up these small little watering spots that then can be accessible by other animals. So Oh, they play such a crucial role in the ecosystem, elephants. Alrighty, folks, why don't we go and check what's happening at one of our other cameras over in King's Camp? Welcome to King's Camp, everybody, in the Timbavati in the Greater Kruger. We've got some cheeky elephants here chasing away this poor giraffe. Shame. Sorry, Mr. Giraffe. It's like a rather cheeky mother elephant cow with a little baby. They do not seem keen about sharing their watering hole. Looks like they were also caught in the middle of a elephant pool party. Blacksmith plovers are not perturbed whatsoever. So just like humans, elephants also are very unique in that they all have their own behavior and personalities. So just like this female might be a little bit angsty and on edge, could be because there's only the two of them. So if elephants are in smaller numbers, generally find they can be a little bit more on edge. Wonder if our giraffe friend is going to come back for a drink. Just like giraffes, they also have their own personality. I feel like giraffes are always very wise and noble, quiet creatures that roam the lands, kind of very silently watching over everyone as they go about their day. Hello, Mr. Giraffe. Nice big male giraffe, quite light in color. And he's got a little oxpecker on him there. Wonder if he's traumatized being chased by these elephants. He's giving it a moment before he comes down for a drink. Giraffe are generally quite skeptical and a bit nervous when coming down to drink at watering holes. They have every right to be there. Makes them a bit vulnerable while they're drinking, so they want to be super sure that they drink in safety. Maybe if we're lucky, he'll bend down for a drink. Oh, looks like our little oxpeckers have all come down for a drink as well. It's hard work for an oxpecker out there, picking at all the parasites from your host. It's unusual to see such a light male like this. So most often, male giraffe are darker in color, although every now and then you do get a male that is a bit lighter. And you do from time to time get females that are quite light in color too. So the giraffe have quite a unique physiology. So obviously giraffe are the tallest animals, um, with males reaching up to 18 feet or anything between 5 to 5.5 meters. Females can reach about 14 feet. Have these unusually long necks, which can reach over 6 feet long. It's quite crazy. Imagine a neck that's 6 foot. Goodness gracious me. And they actually have the same amount of vertebrates as mammals. So they have 7 vertebrates, obviously a lot larger in size to make it more elongated. So yeah, it's crazy to think of, despite the size and length of the giraffe's neck, they actually have the same number of neck bones as a human. How crazy is that? And their hearts can actually beat up to 25 pounds of blood to the brain. Imagine all that blood that the heart has to beat up to their brain. So giraffes have very strong hearts in order to pump blood all the way up to their brain. Still seems rather skeptical, I must say. There we go. Come on, boy. Come for a drink. Giraffes are mostly browsers, and they do primarily feed on leaves of very tall trees like acacias, although I do know giraffes like to feed on flowers of acacias too, as well as flowers of the knobthorn tree, which should be still flowering now. So knobthorns generally flower in August, September, and they look like they have been dusted with pixie dust, all these knobthorn trees, and giraffe absolutely love to feed on those flowers. Seems very nervous. Come on, Mr. Giraffe, come down for a drink. So this is a solitary bull, solitary male giraffe, and kind of their social structure. They do live in kind of loose social groups when they are kind of in an area for a while at one time. A group of giraffe, they're known as a tower, and when they are traveling and moving, they are known as a journey. I love that description. It's quite very descriptive. Um, they can vary in sizes, the groups, but again, they don't often stay with the same individuals for more than a couple of days or a week or so. Obviously, females with their little ones will stay together, but no, they don't always need to stay in the same family group for a long period of time. They don't really have strong social bonds with one another, like, for example, with elephants. Elephants form very strong social bonds in comparison to the giraffe. So very silent communicators, giraffe, and they're generally a quiet animal, and they do communicate via using infrasound, so very similar that with the elephants. So a lot of the sound that they use to communicate, we actually cannot hear the sound. It's very low frequency sound that's not audible to the human ear. Okay, let's watch this guy come down for a drink, hopefully. He's really making us work for it today, isn't he? So, Danny, good question there. So, no, Danny, not all animals are this nervous at watering holes, but I do find giraffe do generally tend to be quite nervous when coming down to a watering hole. Come on, boy, come down for a drink, please. Oh, he is very nervous today. Maybe he is still traumatized from being chased by those elephants. Maybe he can smell lions in the area. Maybe there's some predators close by. So they obviously have very good sense of smell, giraffe. So he'd be able to smell if there was any lions around. And obviously a very acute sense of sight. There we go. I'm sure he's going to go down again. He didn't get much in that time. A shame. A lot of the time when they have all these ox pickers, see, they really harass the giraffe, especially when they put their head down. Oh, he's having a good drink. Well done, boy. There we go. So I love it when a giraffe flicks its head back after having a drink. If you are a photographer on safari, definitely going to want to catch that moment when he flicks his head back. Sometimes you can see the tongue curling and twirling all over the place to try and keep that water in its mouth. Beautiful blue tongue, long tongue. Finally. He was very thirsty. So Sanjeev Roy, yes, this is a very healthy, good-looking male giraffe. He's definitely in his prime. I think he'll impress a lot of female giraffes. So giraffe are actually considered a vulnerable species due to habitat loss and, of course, poaching. Also, lots of human-wildlife conflict within certain areas. The population has been decreasing over 40% over the last 3 decades. Um, So, in some areas, they are known to be what is called silently extinct within specific areas of their home range that they did used to occur in. But luckily, there are a lot of conservation efforts which have been put in place to protect this species. So, generally between 7 to 9 different subspecies of giraffe. Oh, they're constantly changing between 7 to 9 at once. One stage they're believed to be 11 different subspecies of giraffe, but I think now they're back to 9. I would love to see the reticulated giraffe over in Kenya. Oh, those spots, that coloration, very, very unique, quite different. Otherwise, to me, most of the other giraffe species look pretty much the same, besides the fact that their spots are slightly different shape. Let's listen to those ox pickers. So Matoix is asking a question about, do giraffe lie down to sleep? So yes, they will lie down to sleep, but just like with elephants, giraffe are more susceptible to predation than elephants are. So that means that they cannot spend much time sleeping. So just like with elephants, they don't actually spend much time sleeping within a 24-hour period, maybe at the most 1 to 2 hours with kind of at 15 to 20-minute intervals here and there. So they might rest under a tree for 15, 20, maybe minutes at a time before they all get up and move around. So lions are a very big predator to giraffe, and if a big enough pride of lions came and found a giraffe lying under a tree, would be very susceptible to predation. So even when they do lie down, they don't completely lie down with their necks on the ground. If you find a giraffe lying down like that, he's either a youngster or possibly a sick individual. They'll just sit down with their head still up and rest their eyelids for a bit, kind of like little cat naps. So they'll have a little cat nap, 15, 20 minutes here and there, and then they're up and off again. It's quite a mission, just you saw as you saw for this giraffe to drink, so is it quite a mission for a giraffe to get down onto the ground. So it's quite difficult for him to get up as well. So the longer he spends on the ground, the more susceptible he is to predation. So no, they don't sleep for very long periods, if at the most an hour and a half to 2 hours within a day for 15-20 minute cat naps at a time. So, Penelope Kenyon, how crazy that you have a giraffe vertebra in your classroom and that it is more than 30 centimeters thick. Isn't that crazy? Well, yeah, it's incredible to think that a giraffe has the same amount of vertebrae as a human. And I guess that's why they are so thick, is so that they can make up that 6 foot long neck of theirs. Pretty crazy. Sanjeev, I agree with you there. Elephants and giraffe definitely make up a very beautiful landscape and beautiful wildlife viewing in Africa. So we do need to protect these species. Luckily, there's a lot of efforts being done in order to protect these animals within these areas. Alrighty, folks, doesn't look like we've got too much other activity going on here. Why don't we head over to Naledi Dam and check out a new location for today? So welcome to Naledi Dam, everybody, in the Olifants, in the Western Game Reserve of the Olifants. And we have a young elephant bull also having a bit of a mud bath. Again, another very dry location. What South Africa is looking like, pretty dry. Although I'm sure after all the snow and rain we've had recently, that's giving everything a bit of a second burst of life. Great to see. So we're just talking about elephants and giraffe earlier and protected species and how there are a lot of conservation efforts such as anti-poaching initiatives, anti-poaching programs, wildlife corridors that are being formed for these animals to be moved freely. And of course, ecotourism does play a huge role in the protection of a lot of wildlife species. So it is critical for the protection of a lot of these animals, for example, elephant and giraffe, so that in order to protect the populations that, people keep coming on holiday and supporting these game reserves in order to keep these species protected. And of course, a lot of these game reserves as well have a bit of a community projects too, which also helps to encourage the community to protect the animals rather than to try and poach the animals. So these initiatives in the communities are also very important because conservation and community, they really do go hand in hand. Oh, check it all, that mud. Alrighty, why don't we go and see what's happening in Tau Lodge over in Madikwe. Oh, welcome to Tower Lodge, everybody. Looks like our elephants have still been busy at work in this thick, sludgy mud, feeding on whatever green vegetation they can find here. Luckily, there's quite a lot of it. Maybe today we'll see our crocodiles somewhere. And yeah, oh, those white-faced whistling ducks we have on the left-hand side of screen. Awesome to get some good birds in here at Tower Lodge. Little baby elephant. It's always a delightful location here at Tower Lodge. Oops, sounds like we've got a yellow-billed hornbill in the background too. Yes, we have a little flock of white-faced whistling ducks, everyone. How cute! Super awesome to see these ducks here. It's my first time seeing white-faced whistling ducks in Tower Lodge. I don't think they would be staying here for too long. They're probably migrating through, moving through. What cool little ducks these white-faced whistling ducks are, trying to get out of the wind. Let's have a listen to that yellow-billed hornbill vocalizing there. Yep. So the white-faced whistling ducks, they do obviously get their name from that striking white face that they have. Very contrasting in color with that beautiful black and almost burgundy brown along their plumage, and a lovely chestnut coloration on their neck and flanks. So the males and females do both look very similar. It is very difficult to differentiate between the males and the females, as you can see. They generally always find them in pairs or obviously in big flocks. Biggest flock I've seen is probably about 20 or 30 individuals. And I've got the call here. Let me see if I can play this call on my new Newman's app. So folks, we have, listen to the yellow-billed hornbill there while I find the call of these white-faced whistling ducks. Every time I mention these yellow-billed hornbills, they go silent. There we go. All right, I'm going to play this call for the white-faced whistling ducks for you. They have a very, very cool call. Check out, there's another elephant in the mud. So that's just a very, very memorable sound for me. Often along the Zambezi River, you get the beautiful sound of the white-faced whistling ducks calling. They do love very marshy areas, especially along rivers. Very, very common bird to see, but this lovely sound of the African bush to listen to. They're generally quiet unless they're flying or kind of interacting with one another. But shame, these white-faced whistling ducks have probably come from quite far. I can't imagine there's too much more water around here, so they probably traveled quite a distance. Of course, we've still got our elephants here looking for some nice green vegetation. It's been really awesome seeing these elephant bulls trudging their way through the thick mud to feed on this nice lush green vegetation here in the water. I wonder how long our whistling duck is going to stay on the island there. So Tracy, thank you for your question there. So Tracy has asked if I have been a part of any conservation projects. So yeah, Tracy, everywhere I've worked, I've kind of always tried to be as much involved in the conservation side of a reserve as possible. So I have done in KZN, I did help in some elephant research projects, which we had ongoing there with some elephants that had been moved from the Kruger. Also helped with a lot of wildlife projects, birding projects like vulture. I like vulture research, which was awesome. I loved learning about vultures and kind of the threats of vulture populations, and what we can do to help keep account of these individuals and nests. So I did a lot of vulture nest counting. I've also helped with leopard ID kits. I've traced elephant tracks for days doing elephant ID kits as well, rhino tracking kits, so tracing the tracks of elephants, tracing the tracks of rhinos. Goodness gracious me, it takes some time, especially an elephant. So generally what you'll do to get an ID for an elephant on their feet is you'll take 2 feet generally opposite to the front, left, right, back, and you take the whole imprint of the foot when moving these animals. So when translocating, you'll get an imprint or photo, and then you will trace that out. So that's quite a big job. I have also done some anti-poaching work in Zimbabwe as well, where I spent about 2 years during COVID when the guiding industry was a little bit low. I spent some time in working for an anti-poaching organization in Zimbabwe. So yeah, conservation to me is a very important part of our job as guides. So I always try to be as involved as possible. Of course, always love to help with recording of special bird species anywhere if I can as well. So that's always awesome by using the bird lassoing or bird recording apps. That also helps researchers quite a lot. Check it, our little elephant we've got here. Lovely to see some zebra coming to visit. So we also got a question about from Hey40 about would giraffe ever get into the water? So I was thinking about that earlier, and I think it's probably giraffe avoid water and muddy areas again because they're such long, lanky creatures. Oh, look at this little elephant. He's taking some dust and sandbathing. So, because giraffe are such long, lanky creatures, they are very vulnerable to slipping and they could very easily break their legs. For example, elephants, just like this little baby elephant, they're very well adapted and cushion a lot of cushioning on their feet, which really helps them to be able to move up and down banks. It's very rare that you'll actually see an elephant ever slipping, even in mud. They're very, very agile in the way that they can move. Whereas a giraffe is not the same. He's got a cloven hoof and he would be very susceptible to slipping. So I don't think giraffe want to be anywhere near water, like a water's edge that is slippery at all. That's probably why they can also be quite skeptical to come down to drink at times. So, a salty life, thank you very much for your comment about the calls of the white-faced whistling ducks. Apparently, you used to hear them from your flat in Durban near the botanical gardens. Yeah, white-faced whistling ducks are quite common over a lot of areas. It's incredible. They even live in aquatic kind of more coastal regions. You'll see them passing through from time to time. I've seen them on the beach as well. So they have quite a wide distribution. But yeah, that call of the white-faced whistling duck is definitely a special one. Looks like we've got a hammerkop here. Hello, Mr. Hammerkop. And I think we've got our common moorhen as well. You can see this mud is drying up, I think in a couple of days' time, maybe by next week. Not too sure how much water will be left here. You can see all these elephant balls are definitely getting into this thick mud and making quite a muddy mess. Go. We can still hear those yellow-billed hornbills doing their mating display in the background. Just having a bit of a scan, seeing what else is out there. Where are our crocodiles today? I haven't seen our crocodiles here at Tau Lodge. So apparently there can be anything up to 4 crocodiles that have been seen at this pan here at Tau Lodge in Madikwe. Recently I've seen 3. We had a very strange altercation a couple of days ago. There's a lot of very strange male interactions happening. So we had some interactions with 3 male crocodiles the other day, as well as 2 male hyraxes. I think breeding and mating season is upon us. So there's a lot of testosterone filled interactions that is going on with a lot of the male species, a lot of male animals. The same with crocodiles. They probably Again, maybe the hyraxes could be. It's possible that the hyraxes could be time for mating. The hyraxes actually have a very long gestation period for such a small creature. It's 8 months. But crocodiles, the females should be actually normally they're nesting in September, August, September. So, again, not too sure what's going on with all the animals out there, but generally this time of year, spring is a good time for mating. The impala obviously will be rutting in April. It's a very loud time of the year with those male impalas rutting all over the show. And this elephant is just enjoying chomping away on the bark of this stick. What a yummy stick. So, folks, while we're talking about birds and birding, I am actually exploring my brand new Newman's app. We had Nick Newman, the professional birder and author of the Newman's Birding app, and I've just recently downloaded my copy of the Newman's Birding app and Bird by Color. Oh, check out this elephant ball. It's trying to climb up on the island, but it is muddy. And yeah, it's a really great way to start learning. If you're trying to learn how to bird, his Bird by Color app and book is absolutely incredible, really helpful. You literally just see the birds, what color it has, and you click on the different colors of the birds, and it is very easy, user-friendly application. So if you'd like to get your discount code to use this app, please feel free to head across to our Twitter. It should be somewhere there on Twitter, the discount code to get a 10% discount code on this app, or if you'd like to buy the book in store as well. Yeah, it's an incredible, useful tool if you are starting out or would like to add to your birding collage. I think I have about 4 different birding apps or 3 different birding apps, but this is definitely one of my favorite now. So lots of information, lots of interesting calls and pictures, the Newman's Birding app. So check out on our Twitter for the discount code. And it is also on my Instagram, so you can head across there as well and check it out. Looks like we have some more elephants coming down to the watering hole, and another big elephant bull walking off with his yummy stick. Probably an acacia tree that they're enjoying feeding on the bark from. What a lovely setting watching these elephants. Oh my goodness. Oh, look how difficult it must be. We had a baby zebra that was stuck here in this mud about 2 weeks ago now. Shame, poor little thing. Luckily, he was rescued and saved. But if we were to try and run across this mud puddle, I can guarantee you would most likely get halfway and get completely stuck. That would be this wasn't in a game reserve. This was on a farm. This would be a pretty cool game to try and run across this mud patch. But yeah, even there was some water buck trying to feed here the other day, and I thought they were being rather brave because this thick mud, even a baby elephant, I know this time of year, lots of baby elephants also get stuck in the mud, and it's amazing to see how the parents and the rest of the herd all step in to help pull these baby elephants out of the mud. Check out this little guy. So this one is probably hitting on about a year. Yeah, I'd say between 11 to 12 months of age. So you can also age an elephant by the length of its tusks. And shame, you can see its mother obviously doesn't have very strong tusks. You can see they're quite chipped there. Yeah, very narrow, thin tusks. Just as we were mentioning earlier about genetics. So this little baby probably have quite small tusks when it does grow up as well. Check out that little thing. Hello, little guy. You can see the female's like she's been spray painted with some sort of paint. She's obviously, before visiting this watering hole, had a nice dust bath. Some very red soil. Lovely watching these elephants feed. Shame it's probably the first bit of nice lush green vegetation they've had in quite some time. Check out they use that trunk of theirs to manipulate the vegetation. Female's very wise that she cleans it before putting it into her mouth so it doesn't grind away at her teeth. Lady Macbeth, thank you so much for your comment. Yeah, so the organization I actually worked for, you can give them a Google. It was called the IAPF, International Anti-Poaching Organization. It was actually an organization for all-female anti-poaching rangers. I think they're the second all-female anti-poaching ranger organization in Africa. I know now there are quite a few. The first one was, I think it's the Mambas. I think it's the Black Mambas. I'm not mistaken, in South Africa. They were the first all-female anti-poaching unit, and then one was started also in Zimbabwe, all-female anti-poaching rangers, protecting conservation and wildlife. So, yeah, very important to, yeah, I know a lot of these organizations have volunteer programs that if you want to be involved in conservation, you can always come and volunteer. I know a lot of reserves also have, if you're lucky, you can help with some of the conservation initiatives like rhino dehorning, darting of elephants, just like some of our safaris with Wild Earth Travel, with like Amy Kranz for next year. I think her Mobula trip. Yeah, I think they have a rhino dehorning that's actually included in there. So some very very special wildlife projects that you wouldn't normally be able to be a part of. Yeah, check out these guys. So, you see how the mother's being very meticulous about cleaning the vegetation before she puts it in her mouth, whereas the little one is not always giving its vegetation the most attention to cleaning it. Look at this little thing. Very cute to watch these two feeding. Let's see how wrinkly these elephants' skin are. So, folks, we were just talking about conservation projects and Amy's trip to Mabula for next year in 2025. So, if you would also like to be a part of this trip, there are actually 5 spots still available. I know Mabula has definitely been a really nice addition to the Wild Earth live drives, and we've been having some incredible sightings there. My last stint on Wild Earth was also at Mabula. And I must say, I had a once in a lifetime sightings that yeah, it was definitely my first time to see some of these incredible creatures. Check out this elephant, he's full of mud. Check out this big boy. Hey, how did you get so dirty, boy? He's probably been in this mud for hours to get dirty like that. So, yeah, folks, there are 5 spots still available if you would like to join on this epic safari. I know there is also a hot air balloon ride included, obviously, joining on the live drives, as well as a rhino dehorning operation, too. So, yeah, Amy will be your private guide for this trip. Obviously, Mabula is famous for their cheetah sightings. I think in the 3 weeks I was there, I had like 5 or 6 cheetah kills. The wild dogs, we had incredible sightings of the wild dogs. And of course, my highlight, as well as the wild dogs, was the brown hyena. We had 3 sightings of brown hyena, which is the sum total of all of my sightings of brown hyena. I've yet to see brown hyena anywhere else besides Mabula. So, yeah, pretty epic adventure. Only 5 spots still left if you would like to join in on the adventure. Whoa, check this guy. Oh, he is covered in mud. Hey, boy. He's got a bit of a, yeah, you can see his tusk is chipped and broken on the left hand side there. So looks like our camera's got a bit of mud on from the elephants too, which I'm not surprised. So yeah, elephants can often chip and break off their tusks while feeding. Also while digging for minerals actually, but it will grow back in time. Lady Macbeth, glad to hear that you are involved in some conservation volunteering as well. Congratulations and well done to you. Anyone that helps out in conservation, it's always, yeah, very much appreciated. A lot of these volunteering conservation programs, yeah, definitely appreciate having the extra hands to help. So, Sanjeev, I definitely agree with you there. A lot of anti poaching units in the last 5 to 10 years have been using a lot more, or have been kind of putting to use dogs a lot more in their daily anti poaching units. I've worked with Belgium Malinois myself, and shucks, it is a full time job. Yeah, the handlers of these dogs, I have a lot of respect for. It takes a lot of time, a lot of patience. These dogs are super intelligent and constantly need stimulation. So, yeah, incredible work that's being done with a lot of anti poaching dogs all over Africa. It's definitely a very good addition to an anti poaching team when you can have dogs helping to track down some poachers and also, yeah, kind of work together with yeah, all these different initiatives. So I think these are some acacia branches that are probably broken down earlier by some other elephants at some stage, and yeah, now the elephants are kind of just enjoying feeding on the bark. So a lot of the trees that elephants actually break down, if they kind of strip the leaves at times, but they will actually feed on bark of trees quite a bit of the time. Sometimes they don't want to actually eat crunch away at the actual branches. So you'll see them chewing a bit and then they often will spit the branches out. So they're just kind of debarking the bark from the actual branch itself and then they'll spit the branch out. They do also feed on a lot of roots from time to time, elephants, and that is can be for a medicinal use as well. All right, folks, let's head over to King's Camp and see what else is out there today. Looks like we have some more elephants here at King's Camp, and they are properly in the watering hole. See, there's a bit of dominance display there. This female arrived at the watering hole, and obviously she was a bit of an older, more dominant female. And kind of, you see the respect that the others kind of moved off when she arrived. So, yeah, we're talking about communication and elephants and how a lot of communication you don't actually hear. And the sound. You can see this female matriarch has a long tusk on the right. It's broken off as well. Just having a bit of a scan to see what else is out there. It's a shame when these elephants have their tusks. So she's got quite unusual tusks, this female elephant. Tusks are kind of pointing straight downwards. So I do find these elephants that have unusual shaped tusks like that, they do tend to break them off quite a lot easier because of the unusual shape to their tusks. You can see she is quite an older female. She's got quite a sunken in skin on her forehead there. So yeah, she's probably quite old. Looks like she is pregnant as well. It's probably on her last, if not second last calf. So what happens with elephants is the older they get, the wider their calving intervals will be until they stop having calves altogether. With then which after they eventually lose their teeth, and finds it very difficult to feed, and that's how a lot of elephants do also pass away, is because they just can't manage to chew their food anymore after their sixth set of teeth has worn out. So that's why we saw those elephants cleaning the vegetation at the Tower Lodge before she put it into her mouth, is just to help save their teeth from wearing out. Oh, she's giving us a bit of a smell, that female on the left. So we were talking about earlier about elephants, that they don't just feed on the leaves of trees, but they also feed on obviously the bark as well as roots and shoots from time to time. So elephants are very well known for actually self-medicating, and this behavior is more of a selective feeding method. So it's quite easy to tell if an elephant has fed on the bark of a tree for self-medication purposes or on the roots. So generally, bark and roots can be a means of self-medication, and it will be obviously from specific plants, and that's why we do say that elephants have such good memories, because they can remember what they have eaten in times of sickness or ailments, so they know what to go back to. So that's what the point, and why the importance is of having a matriarch, and she's the one that will teach the youngsters what plants will help with indigestion, or if they've got infections, stomach ailments. So yeah, very important part of an elephant's social structure, these matriarchs. And that is why you find a lot of these elephants that have been translocated from Kruger National Park onto other reserves that might not have a leader or a matriarch. They are kind of seem to be lost souls to me. I don't know where the migratory paths are. It's kind of like an engine, or yeah, like a vehicle that has lost its engine, lost its compass, lost its sense of direction. Um, yeah, it's yeah. Imagine all these small young elephants like this one right in front of us that don't know where to follow, don't know which paths to go to, what food is safest to eat. So that's why it's so important to have these older females that teach the little ones, put them in place, show them how to also behave and how to react. And that's why you find get a lot of naughty youngsters that um, might not be so well behaved. So yeah, matriarchs are very important in the social structure of an elephant. So, Tando, thank you for your question about which parts of an elephant's body start to deteriorate over time. So, just like a human as well. So, I do find I've seen some very old females in elephant bulls, and I do feel, same as with humans, over time our bodies and bone structure does start to deteriorate and also shrink. So, I think with elephants, it's pretty much the same. I've seen quite a few elephants that also, shucks, yeah, must have had a lot of bone density deterioration. Obviously, their tusks can also deteriorate. I've seen some elephants' ears as well become very tattered and torn, very dry. The kind of elasticity in their skin. So it's very similar to the aging process in humans. But yeah, kind of the most crucial part of an elephant's deterioration would obviously be those teeth of theirs. Because without their teeth, they can't chew. And without being able to chew their food properly, since elephants feed on such a large amount of food and vegetation, they won't be able to digest enough food to keep their systems going. So, yeah, I think the average lifespan of an elephant in the wild is anything between about 50 to 55 years of age. I know there is an elephant in a zoo that had one of the longest lifespans recorded. I think that was about 62 years of age. But again, it's very difficult to gauge uh, some of these things in nature, like weights and lifespans, exactly. So we like to use the word roughly or approximately. Of course, a lot of science and studies have constantly been done to find a way to more perfectly perfect a lot of these methods of aging and to study and learn animals in a better way. So, constantly learning so much about these wild creatures every single day. Isn't that incredible to think? So, these elephants are very highly selective feeders and they do have an incredible ability to distinguish which plants and species of plants that they can eat. So, what properties that they need to get from the plants. So they do eat hundreds of different types of plants, some which are medicinally and some which are mainly for the purpose of bulk food that they need to feed on. They do it's incredible how they have this instinctive knowledge of which parts of the plant are beneficial for them. It's quite an interesting psychological phenomenon. I do know, for example, while we're on the same topic as like the silver cluster leaf terminalia or Terminalia sericea, is very much used for infertility for pregnant elephants. So before she gives birth, you'll generally find these pregnant female elephants feeding on the bark of the Terminalia sericea or silver clusterleaf terminalia, and that is to help with the unborn baby, maybe to help give it some energy before the birthing process. So yeah, and then humans will often find the plants and that animals are using to use themselves as well. So it's pretty crazy how we learn so much from these animals. Welcome, Mr. Jive Bunny from the UK. I hope that you are having a lovely day and not too cold over there in the UK. I believe it's quite miserable, rainy weather in the UK. We are having a lovely sunny Sunday here in South Africa, watching these elephants. Aren't we lucky? All right, let's go to Nkoropan, folks, and see what else we can get on this sunny Sunday. Oh my goodness gracious me. Welcome to Nkoropan, everyone, and Sabi Sands. Looks like we've got quite a busy elephant pool party going on here. Goodness gracious me. It's like it's looked and sounded like a storm was breaking out. It's crazy how you can be sitting at a watering hole and have no idea that 5 minutes before you arrive there was elephant chaos everywhere. And then poof, they're gone. Just like that. Looks like we have some warthogs in the background there as well. Maybe they were also trying to get a chance to come and have a mud bath at the watering hole. Goodness gracious me. Lots happening. So they're a bit uncomfortable with some of these elephants. The ears are all flared and open. Or maybe they just done with their mud bath for the day. There was a hippo a couple of months ago at this pan, but I think it's obviously dried out way too much for the hippo. I think, yeah. Oh, got a giraffe blending into the tree on the right here. Isn't that crazy, Jack? I wonder if you can see the giraffe. This blender sure is working. He's blending in super well. And off they go. As you can see, obviously this pan was definitely not enough water for that hippo. Last time I saw him there, his back was exposed to the sun, and a hippo can't have his bare skin exposed to the sun for more than 5 or 6 hours continuously. Otherwise, yeah, it'll start to dehydrate the poor hippo. They do need to be covered and hidden in the water. Alrighty, folks. Our elephants have disappeared, so or disappearing, why don't we go to Cat Pan, see what else is waiting for us today. So we have got a little baby elephant and his mommy. Look at them having a nice fresh drink of water. Oh, this is a little one, hey? So you can see he hasn't got his tusks yet, and he's probably just in line with his mother's belly. So I'd say this elephant is probably under a year old, maybe like 9 to 10 months old. He's still fluffy, even. Hello, little guy. How cute is this little elephant? See, our small baby elephants like this sure do need to be careful in times like this when there's a lot of sticky mud around. The last thing a baby elephant wants is to get stuck in the mud. Hey, little guy, you be careful of that mud over there. He looks very sure on himself, this youngster. Oh, he's going to try and feed on an acacia. Check out these nasty thorns of the acacia. So it's incredible to think that this is also staple diet of a giraffe. We were talking about their long blue tongue that a giraffe has, and they will wrap their tongue around one of these acacia branches and pull down on the branch and remove all the leaves. So it's very hard, rubbery tongue that those elephants have in order to be able to not be penetrated by these thorns. Oh, crazy. All these animals in our ecosystem are so well adapted to feed on the specific types of vegetation they need to survive off. So it must be a herd of 3 or 4 individuals because this is definitely not the same one. So this is really another youngster, also sub-adult. He must be hitting on 2.5 to maybe 3.5 years of age. It's a little bit bigger. Look for some nice fresh green leaves or green grass while he fights with that stump in his way. Must have an itchy foot, I'm guessing. Just like us, elephants do get itchy too, even though they have such thick skin. Also get rather itchy, difficult to scratch some places like the edge of your foot like that. Shame it's quite dry out there. I'm seeing some leadwoods in the distance. That's always a good sign. Kind of elephants don't really feed on leadwoods though, but leadwood trees are perfect trees for a lot of nesting birds. Also squirrels, Mapani tree squirrels love a good leadwood tree, very hard wood. It's actually termite resistant as well. And this dead tree on the left hand side looks like an old knobthorn tree, which again will be a perfect roosting spot at night for some owls to hunt from, same as this big dead leadwood on the right as well. Perfect little perching spot for an owl to sit and look out for his prey. Jive Bunny, yeah, this is a really great angle, nice low level camera. Get some really good shots in here of these youngsters. Nice, different to see things from a different angle. Life is all about perspective. It's all about how you see things. And from this angle, this baby elephant looks pretty big, I must say. Cat fan? Yes, it sure is an elephant-filled Sunday today, isn't it? Elephants everywhere. Are we on the topic of elephants today and elephants healing themselves? So apparently elephants have been observed rubbing themselves against particular plants that have healing properties. So if they possibly have a wound that they need to heal or some sort of skin irritation, they have been seen actually rubbing their skin on aloe vera plants. Isn't that crazy? I mean, I swear by aloe vera. I think it's amazing for your skin. It's great for skin irritations. Isn't this incredible that elephants have actually been observed rubbing their skin on aloe vera plants to help soothe skin irritations and bites? Isn't that amazing? So I always wonder who discovered these incredible plants first. Was it humans or was it actually the animals? Oh, great low angle of this camera here. Hey, a lot of these traditional medicines that are being used are actually kind of like a good way of connecting people and animals. So a lot of these traditional medicines would have been kind of taken from the wild, taken from the bush, um, and kind of how it would have come about as being observing and watching elephants and seeing what they use. So local communities in Africa and Asia have observed elephants feeding on specific plants or using specific plants to treat ailments, and that's how they then incorporate these kind of medicines into their traditional medicine practices is by watching animals. So this behavior elephants have kind of showcases their super intelligence. All right. Looks like our pan is pretty empty now. Why don't we head back to Tower Lodge and see if our elephants are still in the mud? Looks like our elephant friend has not moved too much since we last saw him. If you see the thickness of that mud, I'm not surprised. Uh-oh. That did not sound like a happy elephant. Got a little black crake here. Two black crakes and our blacksmith plover. Sounded like the sound of a grumpy elephant or youngster being chased or disciplined, or an angry elephant bull chasing another elephant bull. Have a bit of a listen, maybe we'll hear some more vocalizing. Sounds quite scary, I must say. Sounds that elephants can make. See this pathway where the elephant has moved and walked through. I'm sure those crocodiles are probably closer to the main pan. Doesn't look like there's too much space for them to move around here. And the last thing a crocodile wants is also to get stuck in the mud. Caked and baked into that mud, imagine. A few more elephant bulls also lurking around, and we've got some impala coming to join us at the watering hole. Our white-faced whistling ducks haven't moved much, and neither have our two elephants that we were watching earlier. Look at this little guy, still standing and feeding. Those stubby little tusks of his. Oh, he is just having the best day. So these elephants really have hit the jackpot here. They are nice and cool and can, yeah, chill in a nice cool place while feeding at the same time, because it's going to be hot out there. It looks like a hot day over in Madikwe. So, yeah, it's kind of like a 2-for-1 benefit. They get to feed in a cool place. Don't have to roam around unless you're a little baby elephant like this one being pushed around by a big bull. Impala coming down. Isn't this a lovely setting? Our impala, elephant, and our beautiful white-faced whistling ducks. Shame that little one looks like he's struggling a little bit to get out of the mud. Good luck, little guy. I don't think this elephant, the young elephant, he's still learning how to obviously feed and not quite manipulating the stick the right way he wants to. Hey, little guy. But he knows that there's something on the stick he needs to get off. There we go. He's managing to pull the bark off of the stick. I think we've got a grey heron here as well. Hello, Mr. Grey Heron. Grey Heron. Yeah. Oh, isn't he looking beautiful today? He's giving us a very good pose. Normally around this pan. I've seen him quite a few times, so he'll be looking out for some A bit of a meal. Small fish would be a great meal for this heron on a Sunday. Just listening to the sounds of nature around us, wondering if our grey heron friend is gonna make a kill or just gonna stand and enjoy himself in the sunshine there. I love those trail feathers on the back of his head. It was very elaborate. Of course, during their breeding season, they get quite an elaborate kind of fluffy feathers on the front of their chest there. Got some nice impala here as well. Oh, we've got our waterbuck also milling around. Some zebra coming down for a drink. It's about that time of day. Surprised our waterbuck are not feeding on the green vegetation also in the water, but I'm guessing it's a little bit too thick for them. It's very, very thick. This mud. Waterbuck would not want to get stuck in the mud. So Taylor, good question. Would the reserve assist if an elephant got stuck in the mud? I'm sure the most reserves do assist if they can. Like we had this baby zebra at Tower Lodge here stuck the other day. So I'm sure if they are aware, they will sometimes intervene. Some reserves don't intervene, but yeah, depending on the management team, I'm sure if they can help, they do try to help wildlife. Dark Mane Lover, I agree with you there. It is awesome when you see the herons catching a ride on the back of a hippo. Like they are a bush Uber, or I call them Shubas. The bush Uber drivers. The hippopotamus often have little herons or egrets on their backs. And they kind of plunge into the water, and the egrets are like, they don't want to get off, so they wait until the last minute until the hippo's underwater. Just having a look out to see what else is out there. You've got wildebeest lying down as well. Some more waterbuck. It's a lovely afternoon here in Tower Lodge, but I must say it does look really hot. Especially when you see some of the antelope lying down, you know, wow, it is a hot day. Let's have a scan and see what else we can find. I'm desperate to see where our crocodiles have gone to, but unfortunately, I think they're on the other end of the pan, not really visible to us. Oh, we've got some baby elephants there. Lots of bulls just milling about, kind of procrastinating, I guess. Like, oh, should we hang around here a little bit longer? Maybe go back for a drink before we head out. are these impala up to? You see the elephant bulls are trying to get as much food as they can from around this pan before they head out. Raymond, I agree with you there. It's so lovely to see such a variety of animal species here. Lovely to see waterbuck, some wildebeest, elephant, impala, all in the same area. Nice big impala ram. Looks tiny compared to those elephants. Check how tiny these impala look. Those elephants already having a good munch. As you can see, they're also feeding on the bark. So in hard times like this, when it's dry and in drought, they'll be feeding on a lot of bark in order to kind of substitute their diet because there's not too much green vegetation out there. Cat fan, I definitely agree with you there. It is incredible how much knowledge elephants have about medicinal plants and uses of these plants. It's absolutely incredible how much we can learn from these animals and how intelligent they are. I think it really is a very good indicator of just how intelligent these giant beasts are and how intelligent they are, with interacting with the environment and how they can kind of understand what plants are helpful and harmful to them as well. Because there's a lot of plants out there that even for elephants would be quite toxic in their systems. Not the greatest things for them to feed on, especially like plants that might have too high tannin levels, which might cause a lot of indigestion in elephants. So yeah, that note, definitely stay away from these plants that might cause some sort of indigestion. Dark main lover, I also agree with you there. Isn't it just lovely? Oop! Watching these elephants, just such peaceful and majestic animals, as these two elephant bulls have a bit of a tiff. But yeah, it's all about hierarchy and dominance between one another. But yeah, they are very peaceful, gentle giants, elephants. You can see this tree that they've obviously, I think it's an acacia tree, they've all pushed over, leaves have been fed on, and now they are munching away at what bark is left. That's very good for them. Fiber as well, it does produce a lot of fiber for their systems. Because obviously elephants only actually digest about 40% of what they eat is actually digested. The rest comes out in their dung, which is then used by many different creatures. So an elephant's dung is like a buffet for all the smaller animals. You find a lot of birds digging in an elephant's dung, like your francolin, your guinea fowl, hornbills even. Squirrels love to have a good scratch in elephant's dung, pick out the seeds. So I've even seen palm nut vultures and even fish feeding from an elephant's dung. Isn't that crazy? So the dung of an elephant is a whole ecosystem. You get dung beetles in there, all kinds of insects, termites decompose the dung as well. So it's a whole ecosystem, all in one elephant dung. It's nice to see these elephants though in a relaxed state, all feeding together, not really too distressed, very calm. So yeah, I've got a good question there. Sandy Franklin 69 says asking about, is an impala about the same size as a deer? So it depends on what kind of deer you're looking at. I know a lot of your deer in America, like your roe deer and your fellow deer, are more the similar size of our reed buck. I mean, I know you get small deer and you get large deer as well. And impala, average weight of an impala, I think, is anywhere between about 45 to 60 kilograms in weight. So, yeah, I guess it would all depend on which size deer you would compare to. But I think your deer in America is more closely related to our reed buck. So we get the mountain reedbuck and the common reedbuck here in Africa. And yeah, if I'm not mistaken, they can weigh anything between about 30 to 40 kilograms. So it's a bit smaller than impala, also more solitary or in groups of anything from 2 to 4 individuals, maybe 6 at most, but they don't really form large groups like that of impala. So impala herd can be anything between shucks 20 to 50 individuals all in one herd. Isn't that one lucky male that he gets all those ladies? But again, shucks, that's a lot of ladies to have to manage for that one male. Oh, we've got some guinea fowl that just popped up on the screen on the left-hand side, also scurrying about. So this will be a perfect place for these guinea fowl. Lots of elephants disturbance, so yeah, maybe some insects for them. And also, like I mentioned, the guinea fowl love to scurry about in elephant dung. So Jenna from the UK, I agree with you there. If only elephants could talk, we would definitely learn so many things. Yeah, sometimes I wish while on safari you could hear the animals speaking. I wonder what they would say. It's probably best. We don't know. Oh, we got a kudu that's just joined us here. Hello. Hello, beautiful girl. Very nervous female kudu. Let's just come down. I think she's hoping to get a drink at the watering hole. Yeah, kudus are not normally never really alone unless it's a solitary bull. So it's always lovely to see these. Are they like models of supermodels of the bush? Kudu, very tall and slender, very beautiful tall creatures. Males have those long spiral horns. Very nervous, these girls. Perfect prey species for a wild dog. I must say, I'm going to be joining you the next couple of days at Live at the Waterhole, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they see at Mabola. If I think of wild dogs, I think of the dogs at Mabola and what incredible predators there are. So, yeah, if wild dogs pitched up at Tower Lodge right now, this would be the perfect hunting area for wild dogs. They would literally just chase these kudu straight into the water, try and tire them out. Um, and yeah, wild dogs are very kind of specialized hunters in that they do like to use obstacles to kind of catch their prey off guard. So they will chase their prey into water holes or cross roads or into fences to kind of get the element of surprise or knock their prey off guard. So yeah, very intelligent. Alrighty, folks, let's head across to the Lady Dam, see what else we can catch before the end of the show. Oh, check what we have here, folks. Got a little terrapin. Hello, little guy. Isn't he a strange looking creature? It's nice to get such a low angle view of this little terrapin. Wow, it's actually a big guy. He looks like he's trying to get himself into the water. See those very sharp claws of his? Very nasty scratch, help him to move around. They have quite a unique defense mechanism, these terrapins. If they ever get picked up by a predator, or if you ever see one in the road and try and pick it up and move it out of the road, they will urinate on you, and it is a very foul smell that they excrete. It's a defense mechanism of theirs. They are a semi-aquatic reptile, primarily live in dark, brackish waters, as well as kind of fresh or salt waters, but generally these terrapins are freshwater. Check out those little beady eyes. Hello, little guy. What are you up to? Looks like he's itchy, scratching his head. They're generally such kind of marshy areas, and yeah, they have adapted to living in a lot of different kinds of environments. A very distinctive diamond-shaped pattern on kind of the upper shell. Isn't he cute? So they are omnivorous. Their diet does include some small fish, mollusks, crustaceans, insects, as well as plant matter. They do from time to time also feed on algae. And in areas that they occur near the coastal regions, they will also feed on seagrasses of some sort. They use that very sharp jaw of theirs to crush and eat crabs. Crazy. It's unusual. He's a very, very itchy head. So their diet does vary quite a lot depending on the environments that they hang out in. Alrighty, folks. Well, what a lovely way to end the show today. It has been amazing being with you on this live at the waterhole. I hope that you all enjoy your sunny safari. Maybe tune into the live safari this afternoon. Maybe if you're lucky, catch Lalamba and her cub coming back for a drink at Jumapan. Fingers crossed. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow live at the waterhole. Same time, same place. From me and the rest of the Wild Earth team, I would love to wish you a happy, sunny Sunday. Our little terrapin friend is also saying goodbye. Have a good day, folks.